morning. It is November 12th. I was going to say 1962. No, that doesn't work. It's November 12th in the year 2025. As we all hopefully find that SNAP has been fixed, at least through the end of the year, beginning of next year. I don't know yet if there are going to be requirements put on it because they really didn't talk about that. I don't know if they're going to remove illegals from it because nobody's talking about that. But if you got $5 billion and you got to feed 42 billion people, actually, I got to turn this down because it's got a volume problem. There we go. Anyway, I apologize for that. But if you got 42 million people that you have to feed, and it normally costs you $9 billion to feed that many people, and you only have $5 billion to work with, and everybody seems to agree that you only have $5 billion to work with, what do? Do you give people a little bit of the full amount that they're supposed to get? Do you not give people anything? Do you hope at the last minute you figure it out and get it working? So I don't really know where it is. That's depressing news, as I can tell you. And also, depressing news this morning is weather, which looked like it was in the upper 50s. And it's cold. It's going to be cold, I guess, through next Thursday. And it starts to warm up, and weather goes into the 70s or the 80s here in Florida. And hopefully where you are, too. It's hump day, the middle of the week. You have made it to the middle of the week. And if anybody wants to pop into the live chats on my profile or Boogie with the Bull YouTube Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, you are welcome to say anything you wish. And early morning potential spam calls are just as annoying as evening potential spam calls. And you take the call now because I guess the game is to call you on your area code and prefix of where your phone is, and you think it's a call for you. So you take the call, and then you find out, they got the wrong number, and you're going to have to go through that. Or you just have to say to the first person, I don't want to hear these calls anymore because they're not for me. I don't know who they're for, but they're not for me. And play that game only to have it happen again. So you sit with your phone volume turned down all the time and everything goes to voicemail, and then at some point you listen to the voicemails and you just get rid of the ones that you want to get rid of. I don't really know because when you pick up the phone, even if it is for you, you end up talking to someone that I don't know if you really want to talk to, because you can't please everybody. And that's just the way it is. A central theme on Boogie with the Bull this morning. I can't please a whole lot of people, but you know what I'm going to say is it's always going to be a work in progress. Okay. We left 10 o'clock in the morning and moved to 8:30 in the morning because I wanted to. I thought it would be better. And that's what we were doing. Something came up, we were going to move back to 10 o'clock, and then something didn't come up, and we weren't going to move back to 10 o'clock. So we may play the time game in the next few times that you see. And we'll either be at 8:30 in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll do our best to give you some kind of promotion that we're going to be either 8:30 or 10 o'clock. Or we might be 7 o'clock on selected Tuesdays and Thursdays and 10 a.m. on selected Saturdays. I don't really know. When the mic and the camera turns on, it might just be the mic and the camera turn on. I can't answer a broadcast I can't answer Messenger while I'm in a broadcast, although I can. So hold on for a moment. Let me read this really quick. Good morning. Are you going on? Yes, I'm on right now. So hold on a moment. Let me type yes. I am live. Whoops. Live now. And then we will send this one and this one. No. Yeah, it's supposed to. Oh no. I have to go back and do something that I didn't do. Hold on just a minute. I have to go over here. And then I have to go over here. And I have to go over here. And wait for that. Okay, that's over there. And then I have to go back to here. And then I have to go over here. And go there. And if I go there now, yes, that is the link. That is the link. So, Philip, if you got the link, you're more than welcome to join us this morning. That's Philip Marshall from a lot of our groups and some of his own groups as well. If he wants to join me, he is more than welcome to join me. Anybody else is welcome to join me this morning. Otherwise, it's just going to be short because I'm kind of rambling this morning because I don't know what I want to say. Other than it's cold and it's warming up, which is good. And haircuts. Always look at the barber and say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. And they do whatever they're going to do. Because I probably zoned out since I was thinking about stuff as my hair was getting cut. Did what they needed to do. And hold on, let me get back over here. So my hair is cut a little bit shorter this morning, and that's just the way it is. If I need to wear a hat, I will wear a hat. But if I don't, I may look like an old man at 63 years old. Good morning, old man.
Good morning. My hair has been cut a little shorter in a few years.
Your hair's been getting a little bit shorter. I find that very hard.
Down the middle of my back.
Oh, okay. On your back. I don't want to know about your back hair. Anyway, good morning, Philip. What's the good word?
Well, I'm back to the short sleeve shirt already. So we had a long sleeve this morning, and now we're back to short sleeve. So it's going to warm up. I think we're going to go into the 50s today, maybe the 60s.
Yep. I heard the 70s, I think, Thursday for next week, but maybe before.
Yeah, my weather app says high 60s today.
Yep.
That my critters will like that. But we're looking at 70, mid 70s Thursday and Friday.
Yep.
80s by next Monday. Of course, I'm a little further south than you are, so.
Yep. I need that right away because it's just cold. It is just cold. I was talking to a friend yesterday and I said 56 degrees feels like burr. And they laughed. They laughed at me, but
well, now Dave, our friends up in Cape Cod would think that this was just beautiful weather right now. Because if you're up on Cape Cod, you're cold and snowy right now.
I don't want to be snowy. I do not want to be snowy. That's why we moved to Florida, because we did not want to be snowy anymore. And I don't know. Maybe people enjoy it, but it's just you open the door and it's cold out and you want to stay home. And you can't.
It's always young person's weather.
Yep.
Snows for the young. Yep.
Yep.
You get to.
I don't know where.
You don't like to shovel, and then you get to an age where even a snowblower becomes a chore. At that point, it's really time to bail.
Yep. Now, I remember when we got here saying to our grandson, who shovels snow? And he pointed, and then my son looked at me and he said, but it doesn't snow in Florida. So, fortunately, we have not had to shovel snow, and our landlord has showed up and mows the grass, which is a great thing. And life is beautiful that way. I'm still trying to deal with this potential shutdown of understanding that I guess potential means that people that weren't getting paid now, some are still working and not getting paid, and some are working and getting paid. And the ones who shouldn't get paid, that would take partial shutdown and make it totally open, are still getting paid.
And from what I read late last night, the attachment amendments say that everybody's going to get paid, even those that were supposedly going to be permanently fired will have to be rehired. Now, that doesn't mean that come January 1st, he doesn't ask all those people, because I think a lot of people have found out we don't need these people. The good thing is the farm bill will be funded all the way through the fiscal year. So if they shut down again in January, food stamps, SNAP, that with the WIC program, which I think is an excellent program for women and children,
Yeah.
for pregnant. That's a program that's just excellent. Um, School lunches.
Yep.
I know we have plenty of affluent people in this country, but if we can feed foreigners, we can feed every kid in school, every school. Just feed them. Just feed them.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
the
good idea.
important
Yeah.
thing. Stop worrying about which pocket of your pants you have to pull the wad of cash out to feed people and
Yeah,
feed people.
okay. So if you want an extra dessert, you pay for it. But some of the
Right.
other things, a couple other things in there that are good. It's important that we didn't cave. I think that there was no caving in on um this Medicare, this Obamacare thing. That that
Oh,
fiasco
yeah.
is going to be figured out. Um,
I don't
Democrats are
even
still going
think
to
they.
control.
I don't understand really what there is to figure out because, as I say on every broadcast, it's very simple, and I'm a simple guy. But if you look at the fact that insurance costs you, say, $400 a month, and they sell it to you for $1, that means someone has to pay the $399 a month in a subsidy to a company that makes billions and doesn't want to either lower the price or do something aside from getting $399 subsidies. And I have to assume that, I may word this and upset people, that Obama was not stupid and realized that the subsidy to these companies would go away one day and he wouldn't be president, but he didn't care about that because it wouldn't have been his problem. And it wouldn't have happened under the
Subsidies are
Joe,
going to,
well, it wouldn't have happened
yeah.
under the Joe Biden administration because you know no one would have told Joe to do it, and they would have probably used his auto pen to make sure that he didn't do it. But you know, and now
The discontinuation was built into it to happen now. And then it got extended something or other because of that pandemic. That, God Almighty, we're never going to know all of the shenanigans that went on during that pandemic. That was a fleecing
yeah,
of the Treasury, uh, just extraordinary depths. Uh, some guy
I
with a
think there were
hardware store in Cleveland said he was serving 6,800 meals a day, and they paid him. That's not a true story. I just chose that
yeah,
out. But there are those people that just, okay, we're doing a lunch program and we're feeding people, and they just paid them. And then again, there are some small businesses. I have a friend with a 4-person business. It's family. They did work through the pandemic. They serviced banking institutions. They serviced the platform, and they had a lot of work they couldn't do. And they got that loan, and it worked out well, and he followed the rules. And that program kept his entire family, his two sons and his household, fed and housed and paid the mortgages. Nobody got rich there, but they used it properly. So there were some good things that came out of that. But
yeah, and I don't understand a lot of it because you hear or you heard from President Trump, you won't end up with a CBDC, central bank digital currency card, whatever they want to call it. You won't end up with that, but QFS is a good thing and you should embrace it. And then everything I read was you would get a QFS card when it's time. And if you're getting asked if you want one, it's not the QFS card that you want. And I don't really know. I always thought that my bank debit card was the closest thing to a credit card that I actually wanted, because when I ran out of money, unless I overdrew, I couldn't use it. So I don't really know.
some credit cards that I use, like the discount card. I got one particular card that gives me a percentage when I buy it, a percentage when I pay the bill. So that's a 2% discount as far as I'm concerned. If I'm buying gas anyway, I might as well buy it on that card and then just pay for it. 2% less. That's how I kind of look at that. I got to pay my electric bill anyways. So that few $100, I'll take my percentage on that.
Yep. And everybody's harping about food prices at their grocery stores. They're either going up a bit or they're going down a bit, or gas prices aren't dropping to $2 fast enough. And I didn't think that it would drop to $2 overnight. And again, it's where will it be $2 a gallon? Will it be out in the central states where there's 3 tractors and 2 pickup trucks, and how are we going to do this? Who decides?
The economy is, I think, is contracting in different areas. We just started another LLC this week. It's called Phil Marshall Small Jobs. My son-in-law's got a couple tractors, bush hogs. My grandson's a mechanic and has time off and can do things for people, small jobs. I've got a friend that's a small contractor. Combining with us, it gives us more leverage to do different things. And there is an enormous amount of little tiny jobs out there. Those couple hundred, 300, 400. My grandson went and did a little job for a lady on her top yesterday. This was fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided I'd put this little company together, odd jobs, small jobs, and just everybody right there check the PayPal through that, and we'll figure the taxes out on it. It won't be big. Yeah. But these are people, this woman would have done the $600 job, but the economy has contracted for her. It's not that she doesn't have any money, but the opportunity to get it done by an honest mechanic who has an honest mechanic job on his day off was a good deal. And we thought this out, and I said, the big lawn care companies don't want to go out and bush hog 5 or 10 acres once in a while. They want to do monthly jobs and landscape things and stuff like that. So we've begun to pull these little jobs in, and believe it or not, in just a couple of months, we've pulled in several $1,000s worth of small jobs.
Yeah. If you want to work, it's out there, is what I'm hearing. And if you don't, then you don't. My favorite is the lady with 7 kids who is living in Section 8 and is complaining that she's not going to get her food stamps anymore. And it's like, why aren't you working? No one seems to be upset that she has 7 kids. They're just saying that, why aren't you working?
The worst thing is you might be living in the Section 8 that she grew up in, that she got from her mother. Because her mother had that Section 8, and then when those kids, then she had kids, so they put it in her name. we have people in generational Section 8, generational SNAP. These programs are not meant for that.
Right. Just, if you need assistance, get the assistance that you need, and then hopefully turn yourself around and go to work. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I guess there is.
Here's a temporary job right now that anybody can apply for. It's great for elders and everything else. Right now, the Salvation Army is getting ready to ring bells. They pay minimum wage. Down here in Florida, I think we're paying $14 an hour. You stand in one spot and you take breaks. You stand there and you ring the bell. You smile, say Merry Christmas, a whole lot. People put the money in. Someone comes and picks the bell up. We'll give you a ride there. We'll give you a ride back. Some of us that are drivers will bring you a coffee. Hot chocolate. It boggles my mind because I started working like a buck and a quarter an hour. Okay, I remember getting an assistant manager's job at a hardware store for $150 a week and thinking I'd hit the big time. $14 an hour. Now this job doesn't last long, but it starts. Some start now, but everybody will be out there the day after Thanksgiving until Christmas Eve. You got about 3 pay periods here, about 6 weeks, and a person can make $7,000-8,000. If they're in an area that needs a lot of ringers, they might be able to work overtime if they're drawing money in.
I don't understand why everybody isn't jumping at that job. If it's a $14 an hour job, everybody.
In New York is paying about $24 an hour.
Yeah, and everybody would be jumping at that job. Well, that's probably going to come down because of what's happening in New York City right now. Anyway, but everybody should be glad to jump at that $14.
I can't think of a simple job you could possibly do in the sunshine in Florida for $14 an hour.
Yeah. And even if you have to start when it's cold out and make, suffer a week and a half, 2 weeks until it warms up again, that cold snap will be gone. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah, we opened cold shelters down here in Central Florida last night because we were going to get the wind chill was going to go below freezing last night.
Yeah, it was cold last night. And I sleep with 2 blankets anyway, so I mean it really wasn't that bad. But it was, you get up to go to the bathroom and it was kind of nippy, and then you go back to bed and it's fine. But I don't know. What else you want to talk about this morning?
I'm going to be interested to see if they can get all the representatives on planes and get them back to Washington to have a vote this afternoon. I want to see how I'm just interested in how they're going to play out voting no at this point, because the Democrats are going to vote no again. There's going to be some people there that are going to vote yes to the Democrats. I'm thinking that they're going to be from the same states that the senators voted from because they're representing their people.
Yeah.
And I want to see what happens with the rhetoric. I think the side story that's going to be fun is that young lady from, I believe, Arizona who needs to be sworn in the House. She's been on ice since September because they haven't convened a conference for the House. And she's going to sign that petition to put the Epstein bill on the floor.
I am so tired of hearing we haven't dropped the Epstein list. I said to someone just to shut them up, honestly, was that you only want to look at the Epstein list because you want to see if Trump is on it, which everyone seems to agree he's not, even the other side of the aisle.
If he was on that list, do you think that Biden would not have, his auto pen people would not have dropped that list on day one?
If he was on that list, even thinking of what he would have been on that list for, his own people on his own side of the aisle would have turned him in by now, if that's what it was. I mean, then you say to people, yes, he's the president of the United States right now. So some Democrat is going to find 3,247 times Trump was listed in there. And he could have been listed in there for anything. He rode the plane. He did.
I just think
he broke a $20 bill for him because he wanted him to break a $20 bill for him. I just think that people are looking for things that aren't there. In the case of looking for things that might be there with other people. I mean, there are some things. I mean, Prince Andrew did, in fact, well, he's not a prince anymore. Andrew did get kicked out. His mother, Queen Elizabeth, took it away from him. His brother, King Charles, didn't give it back to him.
The ultimate privileged child getting swatted. Yeah.
Could be, but Andrew is going to sit down at some point with somebody. I don't know, like Robert Hur did with Joe Biden. They're going to have a conversation, and and the end of the conversation is going to be, well, he really didn't know what he was doing or something, and he paid a big fine or something, or donated a big bunch of money. But then the question is going to be off the record. Are they going to go after all the people that Andrew named? Because if Andrew knew that President Trump had been there and had done bad things, Andrew would be saying, well, you came after me. Now are you going to go after the president?
Oh, I think he'd be one of the first to say. As far as privilege goes, he's lost more than anybody else. He was at the top of the privilege line, and I don't see him having. He doesn't. The only loyalty he's showing right now is he's trading his loyalty to his family to keep his mouth shut about the palace secrets.
Yeah,
and I would say the only reason that they're giving him a place to live is because they want him to keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
Harsh to say, but if he had a heart attack and went away tomorrow, they would wipe their brow in London and go, that one's done.
And find another one in the Mountbatten Windsor family that's just as guilty. And I think if Prince Philip was around, he might, I don't think anything bad, but, well, I mean, it's all bad, but, Philip had an eye for people, so Philip might not be, might be on that list. And then
he was an interesting character.
Yeah, he always struck me as someone who had something to say, and if he didn't think he could just open up his mouth and let it go, it came out in a rather eloquent way, which was kind of interesting. But then again, Philip's wife was the Queen of England, and you can't say anything that's going to upset your wife, who's the queen. And there's a whole bunch of rumors about whether or not they were related and married. So, I don't give.
No, you have to be a Somali House of Representative member to have family members in marriage. And you have to be in the United States, right? And you have to be from Minnesota, too.
Yeah. And I was talking to an AI about that the other day, and this shows you how stupid the AIs can be. They told me in no uncertain terms, did she marry her brother? And then came back and said she's been married like 3 times, including this person. And I said, you just told me that she wasn't married to this person who happens to be her brother. So you've got to make up your mind.
AI gets some things seriously wrong.
Some of them do, and some of them don't. You can go on to X, or you can go on to Grok's app, by itself, and you can ask Grok And the only complaint that I have about Grok is that Grok gives you so much information at one time because you're only allowed to ask Grok 20 questions.
Ah,
Yeah.
I've never gotten that far.
Unless you're a paying member of Grok. Grok is only supposed to allow you to ask in that conversation 20 questions. So what I call him a he, but I don't know what he is. But
let me tell you what I love about AI. We love to cook.
Yep.
And we're doing our Thanksgiving dinner this year over at our Salvation Army. We're going to have potluck for the first time. This is an interesting way to. The Army will do the meat. So, how do you expand from like 1 to 100 or 4 people to 100? I'm going to say AI. Tell me about corn pudding. I want to know all about corn pudding. I never made that. I got detailed explanations on corn pudding.
If you go to Grok and you
exactly.
ask him, and
I'm not interested in how the universe was formed. I want to know how to make corn pudding.
You will get all of the information you want, plus all of the information that you didn't think to ask. And that, like I said, that's the thing with Grok. You have to either write down everything or look for just what you need. If someone handed me 47 pages and said, Grok just answered your question, I could go through and find what I needed. But
Grok will tell you interesting. It'll tell you the history of your corn pudding.
Yep.
It'll tell you the history of a song. It'll tell you if this song and that song have similar bass lines. It's amazing what the strange things you can find out up there.
And there's no entertainment or I only got this and made it up or to cover the rest like you do on Copilot. Copilot and I get into arguments at times, which is stupid because I'm arguing with a machine, but it will, if you asked it to find George, who owned a radio station in Carmel at this time, and ask if he is still alive, the answer that I got was yes. But at some point he moved to Rhode Island. Well, no. The George that you found lived in Rhode Island and was around at approximately the same time, and you blended the two together. What Gemini, which is Google's AI, says to me is a hallucination because it just didn't happen. And I know that if asking her the same question, I got the information that I wanted, and it had nothing to do with the information that I didn't. But we're in a world that I don't know if they're ever going to find that the real purpose of AI or that thing floating in space is going to come and knock us out first. Go ahead.
Does AI have a problem with knowing whether it's being lied to when it's learning? I don't know.
It depends on the AI.
As a human being, you have a sixth sense. Sometimes you hear something that sounds good and you think to yourself, nah, those numbers don't add up. Can AI go, those numbers don't add up, or does AI just keep adding numbers? That's in your story. Oh, he had that guy by the name, and but it was a guy from Rhode Island. But it overlooked the fact that he always lived in Rhode Island. And
I had always been told that AI knew because it had access to a gazillion different databases, and it could find what it needed and present that to you. And then you could question and ask for more, and it would find that information and present that to you. I've corrected some before. I've actually said to Copilot and to Gemini a few times, no, what you're presenting actually isn't correct. And gotten back from Gemini, actually, you're right. But I have to work with the information that I have. With Copilot, it says makes mistakes and it's only here to entertain you.
Ah,
I
so there's a
finally said
difference
to
between
him,
having like having real news and commentary news. You
right,
have entertainment AI and you have factual
yeah.
AI.
Well, I guess it really does depend on where you are. I haven't really gone through enough of Grok's detailed answers to try to find something wrong. But Grok being X, X being uh, SpaceX, being Elon Musk and X, and all of that other is just probably not going to make mistakes, and probably does learn. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, you have to. Some want to learn, and some don't want to learn, and some don't want to learn what you want to teach them. I don't know. And then
As
one
I
day
said,
are
I'm
they
not
just
interested
gonna,
in the origin of the universe. I just want to know how to make corn pudding for 100 people.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I found that when you look for if you look at the little things, AI is absolutely fabulous.
yeah,
If you want to know, if you need to buy some touch-up paint for your '65 Ford Galaxy 500, and you got a
it will
serial
know.
number,
Yep,
Grok will tell you the paint number to order from Ford.
yep,
It'll also tell you, I don't know how deep it'll go, but it might even be able to tell you whether or not you can get it from the dealer or you need to go to the
yeah.
manufacturer. So
Now see
there is a very
with
interesting
Coppola,
thing, and I only say that because I've got a friend that does automobile repair, body
yep,
shop repair, and he has been using AI to find out exact things on exact. Is this car? When was this car manufactured? He puts that serial number in there, and he knows when that Ford came off the assembly
oh
line.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you can use it to find things you didn't even want to know, like a Cadillac that I owned. Uh, we actually got the proof of origin at one time, and it was one of 11 that Cadillac built for Cadillac executives. And now it's either rotting in a junkyard somewhere in Massachusetts, or someone picked it up. I used to have a friend in Massachusetts that as they broke down, it didn't matter where they were. If any of them broke down and he could prove that they were one of the 11, he would buy one. He would buy it because he owned some of the 11 that he wanted parts for, and he owned some of the 11 that were still running. Uh, when he got a hold of mine, the engine and the transmission were not running. So he was
He
going
was
to
building
have
his
to
own
replace it.
supply chain.
Well, you know, the engine, the engine and transmission were not running. But if I had known that, if the guy that I was taking it to had said to me, I've never worked on a North Star engine, I said, if you had told me that, not to be disrespectful to you, but I would have taken it to someone who works on a North Star engine or someplace else. You know, used to have a guy in Waltham that loved to chase wires. It didn't matter. You could go in there, you could tell him something wasn't working, and before you knew it, when you went in to pick it up, he had it fixed because he loved to chase wires. But, and I'm not at all a auto guy who can sit when there is a problem because I just want it fixed. And
Yeah, I'm. My daughter tells a notorious story of the Ford Escort that I tuned up one time, and it never,
yep,
ever, ever ran again. Never. Don't ask me
okay,
what I did. It never ran again. I never went under the hood of a car again.
I don't know.
And I grew up in the era where every 6 months or so you pulled your car into the yard and you jacked it up and you took the bearings out and you repacked the front bearings because you had to put grease in
Yep.
them. Nowadays, boy, nobody that I was 17, 18 years old. 17, 18-year olds today don't even know what a wheel bearing is.
I don't like when a dealer says it's a lifetime part because then I start going, how do you know if it broke down? How do you know if it needs to be fixed? You know, And they're like, well, it's a lifetime part tied into a computer. Well, how do you know if that computer's not right? And then if that computer goes down, it takes down 14 other things with it. And you know, I'm and you don't even want to get me started on driving on Florida roads because some people are just rude. Like you got a guy in lane number 1 that realizes his exit just came up and he's like automatically, and you're like here going, no. Or the other day, I forget where we were, Donna made a left turn and I just happened to look out of the window and I said, no. And probably said it very loud and very whatever. And she's like, okay, what's wrong? And I said, we're making a left turn and a guy's making a left turn that from a lane that is just not there, which means that either he's going to hit you or you're accidentally going to hit him. And I, in a state where you're automatically at fault, don't want to get hit.
Oh, yeah, get me on that at fault thing, boy. That I look at my insurance bill and I choke every time I get my insurance bill every 6 months.
Yep.
That's poof.
When I worked for a guy named Brian's first rule was if you get into an accident, you call me and then you shut up. You don't say anything else. And even if it wasn't your fault, 9 out of 10 times he got it dealt with. And I learned a little bit of that where I would tell drivers, don't talk to the other driver. Give the information that you have to the officer that shows up. And if the officer doesn't show up, trade papers and leave. Because then I had a driver who was in my SUV who tapped a BMW, and the lady at the scene with the BMW looked and said, I don't see any damage, and then went away. He never told me about the accident. Turns out I get a bill from my insurance company that says, oh, by the way, you owe like $500 more. And I'm going like, for what? So I called the agent, and the agent says, oh, yeah, there was an accident. The lady took her car to a BMW dealer and jacked it up. And not only was it $500 for her to get that done, it was $1,800 on top of that to fix it. And I'm going, no. If it was $500 because they were in an accident to look at and make sure everything's okay, yeah, that I can deal with, but I'm not paying for her prior damage to her car. And that's what some of it turned out to be. And I guess the $500 got excused too. And it ended up being, he rear-ended her, but it ended up being her fault that she got rear-ended. And it wasn't, like I said, it was a minor rear-ending. The light turned green and she wasn't moving, and he just, overstepped on the gas, and, it wasn't very fast, but, I just, sometimes you don't want to hire anybody else. You just want to be you, but you can't always do that.
I've been blessed not having wrecked any automobiles in a long, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
But I don't drive anywhere near the distances I used to. Mm-hmm. I'm a local fellow. I wouldn't have a problem going someplace, but like you said, my little town has grown phenomenally down here in DeLand, where Stetson University is. And we have a big flux in our population. When school comes in, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students that come into the area. Their parents are all coming in to bring them in. I don't even go near the downtown area or not. I might go to the local Walmart, or I'll go the other way to Publix supermarket. Or I ain't going anywhere near there during that time because they don't know where they're going. Not their fault, they just don't know where they're going.
I was always the guy in Waltham, Mass, where Bentley and Brandeis are, and the schools would say, just call Dave. And we ended up with the cars on the road driving these people, and then the parents would call when they got home. Here's my credit card number, keep it on file, and anytime my kid wants to go somewhere, just take them. And it was actually good until one time, I guess a girl was moving out of her dorm, and she put what looked like a small duffel bag in the trash. And I just got out to empty trash that was in the car that she had left. And I'm going, I could use this. I could actually use this. And I grabbed it, took it. And the next time she was helping me load some luggage of hers in the trunk, and she got all upset about that. It was like, I'm sorry. Just crazy stuff. Nowadays, I drive on my laptop, and I'm very happy.
I'm getting used to a laptop. I bought one a while back. I've always had a tower, and I'm getting used to it.
I didn't have the space for it. I just didn't have the space for it. All right. And I had looked at all-in-ones, and I said, the only thing about an all-in-one is if something breaks down, you lose your whole computer. But again, with your laptop, you lose your whole computer. But if you take care of them, and either way, if you take care of them, you don't usually end up taking them.
Well, every tower I've ever had, I've used until the operating system was not being supported anymore. I still have a tower sitting in the closet that's got I don't know, 10. It's got Windows 10 or something on it. Whatever the one is that they stopped supporting in October. It works perfectly fine.
It works fine. Same thing here. And I love my wife dearly, but I guess with this current laptop, the Dell that I have, I must have put it in a box when we lived in Connecticut, and we shipped everything direct to the storage center that we were going to use. We rented a pod and just packed it up and shipped it here, and I must have forgot about it. And in the 5 years that I forgot about it, or 4 years that I forgot about it, my Chromebook finally got to the end of its life, and I had spilled coffee 3 times one day with bad hands on my Windows 11 Pro and killed it. And I would have loved to have known that I had one of these. But pretty funny. Yeah, you don't. Most of the time, you don't need. If you're like running Windows 10 and they quit running Windows 10 in October, or supporting Windows 10 in October, it's fine for what most people are doing. If you're a developer, I understand. No, it's not. You need Windows 11. But
I went to the laptop because it being portable.
Yeah.
When I'm over at a meeting, I can just flip it up and let it take notes.
Yep.
Mine will take notes. You can talk to it. It'll do all that stuff for me. If we're out on a job looking at something, my son-in-law, wherever I am, he'll take pictures of the field, whatever he's working on, send it to me.
Yep.
I can hit my algorithm and say, here's the quote on the job. And I can print him an estimate.
Yep.
He can flip it on his phone and show it to the customer right there. It's become a real boon to this little business. Yep. I don't know why I'm starting another business at 74 years old. Maybe I got bored with hanging around.
Probably. My 2 Android tablets sit on my desk during the day. One is plugged in, one's just a standby at this point. And my Android phone sit on my desk, and they're available if I need them. My laptop doesn't ever leave my desk, only because, like I said, I just didn't allocate space for a for a tower, and I'm able to do most of what I need to do anyway. And I'm what I call a dedicated end user. Like I said, I just use whatever is around for me to use. But that Chromebook had just gotten to the end of its life, and I had done everything that developers and other friends had said to do to extend it, and the only thing I didn't do on it was pour the coffee on it that I should have poured on it.
There you go. I'm looking at the phone thing now, and I'm kind of getting to the point that I need to change phones since this one's several years old and it's not holding a charge real good. And I'm going to tell you, they're talking about these simple flip phones and that are coming back. Dude, I'm ready for. I want to make a couple of phone calls, an occasional text. I don't use my phone like my son-in-law uses his phone like a portable computer. He's out there. He wants all that performance stuff on the phone. I want to. Hi, how you doing? I want to answer the phone and say hello. I don't need to read news articles and.
Before my dad passed away,
and I don't need to
6
spend
years ago.
$1,500 for an iPhone. I look at the price and I'm like, wow.
Before my dad passed away 6 years ago, he had a flip phone, and it stayed in his pocket unless he needed to make a call or perhaps got a call while he was out. It stayed in his pocket. Before that, my dad had a bag phone under the driver's seat of his car, and the only time you ever saw it was if he actually needed to make a phone call, like the car broke down or something. He just did not want to be bothered with it.
Bag phones are a big deal. I had one of them.
And this thing the other day sent me a warning message. There's like 179 gigabyte worth of megabyte, I'm sure, because it's not 179 gigs, but it was like an outrageous number of megabytes that you need to remove or to review to decide whether or not you need to remove it. And I looked at like 3 things and then just said, remove it all.
If it got that big, you didn't need it anyway. That's how I would look at that.
The only major thing that is on it is memes, because I love memes, and I will put a meme on my phone and forget that I have it. But at least if I want it one time, I can go and look through my directory and I'll find it. But that's about the only thing on there that I need. I mean, I've got the numbers of everybody that I need to have, the important people, and even some that aren't, but that's about the only thing I use that for.
Yeah, that must be another reason you and I like each other. We get along. I have folders on my desktop that have memes in them.
Yeah,
and they categorize because I love me. I could sit there and go through them and laugh all day long.
I could spend all day long, like you just said, looking at memes. I call it meme hunting, and I tell people that's what I'm doing. If someone sends me a message on Messenger that's important that I need to deal with right now, I'll say to the person, I am meme hunting. Go away. And I will look for them. And then it's like I'll come across 3 or 4 memes that mean something to a specific friend of mine, and I'll make sure I send them to that person. And it's like, don't waste your time going on and looking for a meme to send back to me to be happy, because I'll probably find it, and then I'll send it to you anyway. Because a friend of mine, female friend of mine, likes to use the FU words in as often as she can in memes. And I found like 3 of them the other day that had them in there. And then one that it said, I respect you, but when I use the FU word, it means I respect you. And just
Yeah, and and as far as phone numbers and stuff, I'm so bad. My car, as long as my phone's with me in my car, we're connected. I can just talk to my car and
yeah.
tell my call Jessica, and if it cell, yeah, call her on the cell. And I couldn't tell you my daughter's phone number if my life depended on it.
We were at the store the other day, and the clerk said to me, "What's your phone number?" And I said, "I gotta look it up because I never called myself." For that second, just the way she asked me, I couldn't remember it. And
First of all, you don't dial phone numbers, and dial as an old word because you
yeah,
don't dial, you hit the name, you touch it,
yeah,
you
you go
touch the
through the
name in the
contest.
directory, and it dials the number for you.
Yeah, and
Or in
then I
my case,
realized
you tell it to call so and so, and it does.
yeah, then I realized I have two directories. One is for people that I gotta make sure I have, and the other is, I guess I made someone a contact, and then uh, a a client of mine or a friend of mine had asked me to use WhatsApp for him because he doesn't like Messenger. So I set up WhatsApp, but then I realized WhatsApp was calling everybody in my directory and telling them that I was on WhatsApp. Well, you give it permission to do that, but I said to the person, I didn't mean to give it permission to do that because I got a lot of people that I don't want bothered to join me
And
on
the terrible
WhatsApp.
thing with that is you're given a list of things that you approve of this, and it's 7 pages of fine print crap. You just
Yeah,
okay, fine. All I want is the app. I'll just push
right.
okay,
Yeah, I just
and
need the app so I can
yeah,
reach this one person. Then it turned out that one person wasn't even on there anymore. So it was like,
and then you take it off, and people start sending me, "How come you dropped me?"
I just look at people and go, help me find my car keys because I would lose them all the time. Help me find my car keys so I can drive myself out of here. I used to do
Oh
that.
boy.
Used to do that all the time. I used to, like I said, I used to live in California, and I was about 45 minutes away from Sutro Tower. And one time we were in Texas visiting uh, our youngest son and his wife and their two kids. And he had waited until I got there, or we got there, and he went out and bought a steering wheel and pedal set for his phone. And I don't think I ever left it while I was there, which was, I'm sure, very rude of me. But I'm driving around San Francisco, and I get close to the tower and finally figured it out and could actually drive up to the tower. And one time I should have backed up, but I didn't do that. I just cut my wheel and thought I had enough room to turn around, and I drove off the cliff. And I then hear my, I think, 2-year-old grandson standing next to me laughing like he thought that was the most hilarious thing he had ever saw. And then my son was standing next to me taking pictures of the totaled SUV that I was driving because he thought it was the most hilarious thing he ever saw. So I don't know. I don't know. The funniest time about keys and glasses and wallets and all was one time Donna was visiting me in Waltham, and phone rang. I had a last minute job, and I couldn't find my glasses. They were up. They were like this on my face, and my keys were in my pocket. And I'm running around trying to find my keys and my glasses until she said, Did you check this to see if they're there?" And then I said, "No." "Did you check your pocket for your keys?" And I said, "No." But then I said to her, if I couldn't have found the keys to the car the car had keyless entry, and there's a set of keys in the glove box for the driver who might come to my house and pick it up if they needed it. And I could have done that. I could have just gone down to the car, popped open the door, reached into the glove box, and I would have had the keys. As I said, I don't drive anymore, so I just sometimes it's fun watching Florida drivers. Sometimes it's not fun watching Florida drivers. And I don't know. But living in a state, like I said, where your insurance is based on everybody's a bad driver scares me because I am now because of medical conditions, but I was not a bad driver for a very long time,
Yeah, I don't have anything. I don't have any recordable anything for.
Not at all. And
I don't know how long. Just longer than my arm, that's for sure.
Yeah.
At my age, I don't know. My friends are old like me. In a lot of cases, like today, I'm a dedicated driver. We have a lunch that we go to at 4:30. A group of us, and I have a car and I have a license, and so I pick up the crew, and I bring them there. And last week they were already joking. Well, Phil, I guess we got to eat and hurry home now because it's getting dark, and you don't want to get home in the dark, right?
No.
You know you're getting old when your friends know that you want to get home before dark.
Yeah, this is very true. This is very true. Anyway, let's see. Where are we? We're a couple minutes over an hour, so it's up to you. Do we want to keep going on, or do you want to?
I got a couple things on my list that I got to get taken care of. I had
Make sure you get
critters.
that list.
I had critters that were not cooperative this morning. The dogs didn't want to go in, and the goats didn't want to come out. The dogs have long hair, so they like the cold, and the goats are like, "Hey, we're fine in here with the grain and the hay." So I didn't switch them out yet.
I would not sell those goats to anyone in New York City if that opportunity comes up. I would just not do it right now.
I want to tell you, to be a little on the root side, that's a shit show. I can't wait to pop the popcorn and watch.
I want to see it because now he was talking about raising taxes on this, raising taxes on that. And finally, Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, came out publicly and said, "You're not raising anything in New York State because it has to go through me. And I'm not raising anything right now."
Palm Bay in Florida has had 13 major applications in the last 2 weeks for financial corporations to transfer their systems down there.
Yep.
I think I had mentioned last time I was on that I thought that Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Miami, Florida, and Charlotte, North Carolina were going to be major benefactors. And there's an enormous amount of little investment people. One, 2-person offices. These guys manage portfolios with maybe $100 million, which in today's world is not a lot of money. They have maybe 20 dedicated customers that they handle, and they don't need to be in New York City, and they're not going to be. They're going to move right now. So already the increase in price. If you thought about it, you had a lot of money. Going down to Miami was the place to go buy property in the beginning of November. Because, boy, once this guy made mayor, those property values, they've already jumped 12, 14%.
I can remember when $100 million was, in fact, a lot of money. And sitting down with a good friend of mine who was a venture capitalist and a client and just saying, "I read what you gave me, but I'm scared." And he said, "What are you scared about?" I said, "I'm not scared about the fact that I can do it. I'm scared about the fact that I could mess it up and somebody would lose $100 million. And he said, "This is what we worry about every day. This is what I worry about every day." And I just said, "Well, I'll keep it with you, but I can't as much as I wanted that opportunity, that one, it was a company that actually really, out of the blue, he said, just read this and let me know what you think. And I, like I said, I came back and said, I will mess it up. I
Now,
will
like I
mess
said
it up.
earlier, this broadcast, I thought I was on top of the world when I got an assistant manager's job. I was young, an assistant manager's job at a hardware store for
Yep.
$150 a week. And today, you can go out and spend $150 on dinner without batting an eye.
Yep.
You go to down here, you go to a seafood restaurant I have a local seafood restaurant that has New England seafood. We're talking clams with bellies. They know how to do scallops so they don't turn them into rubber.
Yeah.
There is no plate in that restaurant from the seafood I want. There's no plate there for under $25, $35.
Right. Well, I can remember one of my grandfathers saying to me that if he ended the week with like, I don't know, $10 and he could take out my grandmother, they were like living on top of the world for whatever they were doing. And, you didn't need more than $5 or $10 to go do it. Now, Don and I go out all the time and it's like 35, 40 bucks, 50 bucks. And,
Yeah, it's
I
like
want to be
property.
nice to my wife, but then I sit there paranoid going, we got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. Nobody wants to feel like that.
I was in my early teens, and my father had finally secured a position with Hemingway Transport. He was he managed 3 or 4 drop stations and terminals, and we moved from New Bedford, Massachusetts, out on the Cape, and we moved into one of the first gated communities on the Cape. And my father paid $25,000 for the place we had there in like 62, 63. Today, that doesn't sound like anything.
Oh, today it's probably $25 million.
When my dad passed and my mother finally sold that property, and we're going back 25 years ago, when my mother finally sold that property, she sold that property for more than 10 times what that was.
Yeah.
And then just last year, when I sold, my stepdad passed, our trust fund had their home in it. And of course, that had been paid off since it was built. Their new home had been paid off since it was built. I bailed on that house because somebody offered $465,000 cash. This was a house that was less than $100,000 when it had been built. And I was told I could have got, and I said, I don't care what you think I could have got. I had someone that wanted the house that knew my folks. They wanted to own that home and they had cash money. I didn't want to, and I had to pay no realtor's fees or anything. But we were talking about that. I told my guys, look at the stupidity of this. That house wasn't worth any more or less, other than the fact that someone was willing to pay for it, and inflation had eaten it up. That $465,000 was no more than the $100,000. In reality, when you look, the house wasn't any different.
But the value on a lot of things I see is sentimental, and sentimental can be anything from $1 to $100 million.
Whatever you're willing to pay and you have in your pocket.
Right. And you don't even question anymore what do you want it for, But I hear things and I go, it's worth $50, and you're talking about giving me $100 million for it. I would feel bad about that, but other people I know say, no, shut up your mouth and take the $100 million and walk away. It was worth $100 million to them. But anyway, Philip, I appreciate that you came by. You're always welcome to come by. Our next is Friday morning at 8:30. And we pay a little bit of attention to the men and women of the military and ICE and the National Guard and anybody else that's of that vein, and thank them for the service that they do. And then we go into whatever comes out of our mouths. If you're around, you're more than welcome to join us. And if you're not, Saturday at 10 a.m. because we want everybody to sleep in on Saturday. Whoops. And everything goes off at once to remind me something that I need to do. So you're always welcome to join us. You're doing a hell of a job. Whoop. I lost Philip. Did we lose him? No, we lost him. Okay, no, there he is.
Yeah, I watched you, and then you came back all alone. I don't know.
Yeah, 99% of the time Restream is good, but if the weather is bad between them and me and them and where it goes from there, it can knock us.
Well, they're having some kind of solar storm stuff that's going on. They've been watching the Northern Lights down at Cape Cod. They had Northern Lights like as if you were sitting in Anchorage, Alaska last night.
We were on Monday night, and a minute and 42 seconds into it, they lost us, and they found us, and we couldn't, for some reason, the 29 minutes that they found us didn't go to Facebook, or went to Facebook, but it never got added, so it didn't matter. But we learned that you can get almost 500 views of a minute and 42 seconds. But I can't do a minute and 42 seconds Boogie with the Bull, especially because the intro music is 58 seconds long. But anyway, I know you said you have stuff you have to go do, so
stay warm and be blessed.
Stay warm and be blessed. I like that. You're more than welcome anytime, Philip, and you're doing a fantastic job, and we're going to double your salary as an admin. Okay?
All right, buddy. Bye.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Philip Marshall. You will see him around. I can't even tell you all of the groups, but I used to have them memorized in alphabetical order. But American Regulators is one of them. Boogie with the Bull Uncensored is one of them. We work with Art Sessa, who is the group owner of Conservative Freedom Defenders. And we work with Roland Hatton, who is the admin or group owner of the Red MAGA Nation. He works with me on United Patriotic News only because the original group owner had left so many times that it went to him. And then once Roland had to leave and it came to me, and I could give it back to Roland if he really wanted it the other day, but everybody's busy. But yeah, United Patriotic News, and I can't remember all the others. We will probably podcast this and send it to our groups on Facebook. The YouTube side, you will see it, and if you like it, please come back and watch us. As I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at 8:30 a.m. That's Eastern time. Saturdays selected at 10 a.m. We give everybody, including myself, a little bit extra time to sleep on Saturday. And selected Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. because we wanted to present stuff to people at night so everybody can see it. If you want to be part of the broadcast, you're more than welcome to ask. If our times don't work with your times, then aside from our times, we will make something to fit in to your times. But that's what we got going right now. We are still working on getting finalized with Instagram. It's a great place. I just don't seem to understand it because every time I think we have completed all of the loops they keep throwing at us and we're ready to go, it seems like they throw more at us. So if you are on Instagram and you're broadcasting on Instagram, send something to Dave Glovin, no spaces, or send something to Boogie WT Bull And if we can get together, I would really appreciate it. It's just like I said, it's just not a simple point and click link like Facebook and YouTube are. Or I'm just not understanding it, which is very possible that I'm not understanding it either. A lot of good things happening in the world. You just have to be part of them. And if you don't understand, you have to ask and you learn and read everything you can, or talk to people and read everything you can, and you will almost know everything. And that just came from a simple guy who knows nothing. I am, and I almost say it like I'm proud, but I'm one of the stupidest people I know, which is not really true, and it's kind of insulting. So you don't really want to say that. But if you have an idea for a Boogie with the Bull broadcast, please let me know. You can message me at Dave Glovin on Messenger. You can message me at Boogie with the Bull at gmail.com. BOOGIEWITHTHTHEBULL. Boogie with the Bull at gmail.com. And we will do our best to read it and make sure what we can do. And I'm sure, like I said, 99% of the time I will say, sure, let's do it. There might be one time that I say no, but I like doing the broadcast so much that I think I have them in my sleep, and I wake up my wife a lot. So give me an idea and we'll do it. Give me a time and we'll figure it out and we'll do it. And we'll see how it goes. Anyway, on that note, drink some coffee. Have a great day. It's hump day, middle of the week. If it's not going well, it probably gets better before the end of the week and the weekend kicks in. Potential spam, it's always going to be there. You can put yourself on a block list. You can block things, and they'll still figure out another way to get a hold of you. So you can try doing what I do, which is just basically, hi, this is Dave Glovin at the Stone. Leave a number, leave your name, and leave why you're calling. And if they don't get a call back. It's just that easy. Cold weather, it's in the 50s, and it's going to work up from there between now and next Thursday or the Thursday after that. I don't know, but Florida's just going through its annual cold snap. So it'll be 61 degrees like it is in Jacksonville right now. Sunny skies, it says. Look out the window, and yeah, it's sunny skies. So 61 isn't really that cold. So go out and make it a great day. Drink some good coffee. Have fun. And just remember, like I said, it will get better. In some cases, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it's going to get better. And on that note, if you see this and you want to join, please join. 8:30 a.m., 10 a.m., we have to find a time, a permanent time that is really good for the morning broadcasts. The main reason I kicked off of the 10 a.m. was that there are so many people doing them that we all started inviting each other, and that kind of became a problem. So I jumped to 8:30. But if 8:30 Eastern is not a good time, then maybe we can figure out a better time. I don't know. All I ask is that everybody likes everybody when we're on, and we have a good time doing what we do. Anyway, I'm Dave Glovin. You're not. Thank you for the privilege of your time. An hour and 20 minutes. Just took my glasses off. Hour and 20 minutes today, so it's time to let it go. We'll see you on the next Boogie with a Bull. Double B is for victory. We have come to an end by hitting that